Well, you are listening to CKUA. My name is Grant Stovel, and the program is Alberta Morning. And coming up later on this month, the Banff Centre presents a series of free readings related to their Literary Arts Spring thematic residency. And the theme is Form and Constraint, the marquee event taking place April 25th at the Max Bell Auditorium, billed as an enchanting evening of literary exploration in the serene mountains, featuring captivating readings by acclaimed authors and faculty members Daniel Levin Becker and Ian Williams. And I am delighted to say that both of these distinguished writers join us on the air right now from their respective ports of call. Daniel Levin Becker, welcome to CKUA. Where are we chatting with you from today?
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Be in quotation marks. I am coming to you from Paris this evening.
Wonderful. Merveilleux. And great to have you with us. Ian Williams, thank you for making some time to join us. And where do we find you today?
I'm in Toronto right now.
And you're Alberta bound, the both of you, for this residency. Very exciting. The theme, once again, being form and constraint. Quite an evocative description. Daniel, being that you're both a writer and a translator of works from French literature. You write about a whole wide variety of topics and obviously have thought a lot about the practice of writing. What does that theme, form and constraint, what does that evoke for you in your mind?
Well, form and constraint kind of unifies a lot of the work that I've done as both a writer and a translator, centered around a French literary group called the Oulipo, which is a big part of why I live in Paris these days. The Oulipo, which has been around since 1960, is a research collective dedicated to asking what kind of art you can make, in this particular case, literature, using models taken from mathematics and science. So instead of waiting to be inspired to tell a story or write a poem, you could substitute empirical models. So that could be something as classical as the form of a sonnet, which is a set of rules that you follow, and if you don't follow them, then it's not quite a sonnet. Or it could be as sort of backbreakingly difficult, but also very simple as writing a novel without using the letter E, as a guy named Georges Perec did in 1969, and learning about which was the thing in college that made me perk up and say, oh my God, I need to spend most of the rest of my life learning about these weirdos.
Well, this is clearly going to be a fascinating evening hearing the two of you discourse on this. Ian Williams, same question. I mean, you're a Giller Prize winning novelist as well as a poet. How does this theme, form and constraint, how does that resonate for you?
Well, form is kind of inescapable, right? You can't sort of go forward without it. And if you think about it like organically, like your body, I mean, can you exist without your body? You can exist online in some weird forms and whatnot, right? But generally, it's a kind of like inescapable thing. Everything has a form. And I sort of approach it within the sort of constraints of a body. There are things you can do to manipulate it, right? You can gain weight, you can lose weight, you can chisel yourself up, you can Botox, you can do all sorts of things to sort of adjust the body. But there's a kind of template there. And so within the range of what's possible, right? What are the choices that writers make to make themselves look good? I did finger quotes. That doesn't translate on the radio though. But yeah, how can you look good given the sort of your natural preferences? And what manipulations do you want to make to your body?
Well, I'd love to ask the both of
feel
you.
compelled to add that the name Oulipo has nothing to do with liposuction. Common misconception.
I'd love to ask the both of you about the readings that perhaps you're pondering sharing on the 25th. Daniel, I mean, you've published works about topics ranging from French literature to rap music most recently. What readings are you thinking about sharing at the Banff Centre event on the 25th?
That's such a good question that in the time since you asked it, I've started to think about what I might read. I think it could be fun Banff seems to me like a very bilingual or multilingual place, and I think it could be fun to read some translations of heavily constrained poems that I've done, including there's one where in the original French, it's a poem that is 11 lines of 11 letters each, and it's the same 11 letters each time, but in a different order. That once you put those lines together and supply spacing and punctuation, it actually says something intelligible, which is one of those things that's monstrously difficult to translate, to the point where some people, many people, in fact, in my life have looked at me and said, why would you do something like that? But I think in my limited experience, that kind of it plays well with an audience. It's nice to show the French, show the English, and then talk a little bit about what the process was like getting from one to the other, because it resembles normal translation, but there's a lot of interesting detours along the way.
I'd love to be in the room for that one. Wonderful stuff. Okay, well, Ian, what about you? What are you thinking about sharing?
Wow, that sounds really impressive. That sounds really magical. I want to know how you do that. I can't imagine doing it. I think I'm probably going to read a little bit of everything, right? Some poetry, some fiction, and some nonfiction. So to kind of see like how a voice morphs across different genres. Yeah, do I still sound like myself as a poet versus like a nonfiction person? And I think poetry probably lean a little bit heavier on the poetry because there's more room to play, right? And there are things that are meant for the page, and maybe try to read something unreadable. I think that would be
Mm,
cool. Yeah,
Very cool. That sounds amazing,
yeah.
you two. Well, really appreciate this discussion so very much. Daniel Levin Becker is the author of, among many other works, What's Good? Notes on Rap and Language. Ian Williams' acclaimed latest book is Disorientation, and you can find out lots more about them and about the literary readings at the Max Bell Auditorium April 25th by checking out banffcenter.ca/events. So thrilled to have both of you here with us. Thank you, Daniel, for this. Really appreciate it a lot.
thank you.
And Ian, thank you so much. Happy trails.
Thanks.